Yeah.
Can you feel that? Can you feel what's about to happen on this field, man? Can you feel what we about to get into, dog? And it ain't gonna be getting to ourselves. We're gonna dig into somebody else, man. So whenever you in that doggone game, whatever you gotta do to get whatever that's in you out to come out and play your behind off, let me get you. They don't respect us. They don't know what. Let's dominate this thing. Hold in on 3. 1, 2, 3, hold it.
All About the Birds welcomes you to the live pregame show.
What is going on? We are live, the AATBirds pregame show, live from the West End in Quakertown. It's Eagles playoff football today, 1 o'clock kickoff, Eagles and Bucks, and we have a lot to dive into. Everyone, make sure that you're following us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and our YouTube page. Make sure you follow along, leave those comments here. We are your hosts, myself, Eagle Jeff Warner, alongside Peanut, filling in for Johnny and for Chip, who had things going on today. And, of course, Michael B. in the house. Gentlemen, we ready for some playoff football?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll say it's a big, big game. Who would have thought that a couple months ago when the Eagles started 2-5 that we would be talking about Eagles playoff football? And they were able to turn the ship around, and they don't have an easy task today, gentlemen. They go up against Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road in the wild card round. And gentlemen, I just want to get your first initial thoughts when you see this matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, it don't look good if you want my honest opinion, but there's a chance. There's always a chance. It's playoff football. A lot of intangibles, a lot of injuries, a lot of predicaments. What do you think's to happen?
Well, we have a predicament already. I can tell you that Johnny Uleka, a.k.a. Akuleka, he's known for his weather prowess. He sent me the inactives today. And it looks like Nate Herbig and Josh Sweat from both out. So Nate Herbig kind of a surprise. I know he was dealing with the injuries with last time. Yeah. Josh Sweat, we know he was dealing with the illness. Jeff, I think before you said that Derek Barnett talked about that Sweat might be out. So he's officially out. Reed Sinet is out. Sorry. Andre Sasha, I don't know how to say his name. Jason Huntley, they signed him to the active roster. He's inactive as well. Kerry Vincent Jr., Tate Gowan, and we talked about Josh Sweat. So we're losing one of our starting offensive guards. We're losing one of our starting defensive ends. We're going up against arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Look to be a tall task. It's got a lot of tall.
Yeah, it did. And look, the discussion all week long is how can this Eagles team go into Tampa Bay and defeat Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And one of those keys was getting pressure on Tom Brady, finding ways to disrupt his rhythm in the pocket and make sure that Tom Brady doesn't go Tom Brady on this defense. And like you said, now without Josh Sweat, who's the next man up that can come here and step in and like you said, take on that task?
It's Ryan Kerrigan's season.
Don't tell me that.
See, here's the thing. I was thinking about it. I'm like, Josh Sweat can't come. Who is the next man up? And I keep forgetting that Ryan Kerrigan is a member of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Three tackles this season.
Listen, Howie, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're watching this, I know whatever you're paying Ryan Kerrigan, I'll give you 3 tackles a year for half of what he's doing. I promise you. Maybe special teams tackles. And maybe someone falling into the getting credited with that tackle.
Yeah.
But I can do it. I'm in shape. Not athletic shape, but I'm in shape. So,
But I say we're talking about the Eagles' injury stand front, and unfortunately they do lose Herbig, and that's a big loss for the Eagles team, especially for a team that relies on the running game so much. Yeah. #1 rushing offense in the National Football League, #1 in rushing touchdowns. And because of that, it's because of that front line, it's because of that offensive line, because they were able to have that continuity and that chemistry. Because for the first time in quite some time with this offense, they were able to have all 5 starters for pretty much most of the season. True. So now that ruins that continuity and ruins that chemistry. Having another guy step in there. Nothing against Herbig. He's not like a perennial all-pro or anything, but he was a nice, servable starter for this offense. And it's going to cause some havoc or cause some problems for this offense, especially with a front 4 like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where now they're getting back Jason Pierre-Paul. They're getting back Shaq Barrett. They getting back Levante David. They have Vita Vea in there in that interior line. So they definitely have a front 4 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that knows how to cause havoc on the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So who fills in for Herbig?
I'm guessing so.
Yeah.
Because Brandon Brooks just not coming back. I mean, it's a shame, but it looks like we've seen Brandon Brooks from last time.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to get moved in the offseason, I would say, right?
Yeah, but if you look at it like injuries to the offensive line, sometimes when it comes to pass protection, it's a really big deal. Usually, if you're running the ball more often, usually the offensive line works out a lot better when you have replacements in there when you're running constantly running. So I don't think they're going to miss a beat when it comes to the offensive line. I don't know what you guys feel about it, but I think they're going to run the ball effectively. I think as long as they're not dropping back and passing the ball every play, I think they should be fine. I think they should be fine.
They need to.
You heard it first.
and I feel that everyone thinks that is going to be the focal point of this offensive game plan for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. This is completely two different teams on both sides for the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than what we saw in that first October meeting earlier in the season, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers basically were thrashing that Eagles defense 28-7 at one point, let the throttle off the gas. Eagles came back and made a game of it, but the Eagles have come a long way. That was statistically Jalen Hurts' worst performance of the season. And now, after that game, I feel Nick Sirianni realized what he had with Jalen Hurts. What was the key for success for this offense and for this team? And that's running the football. But I don't want this team to become too one-dimensional.
True.
Right. Well, yeah.
You know, Jeff, you make a great point about how these teams are two completely different teams since the last time they played. Dallas Goedert did not play in this first match. Jack Hurts was his last game, scored that game. Also, Chip Caden checking in, ships underwater right now, taking Seacoast to a new level. So Dallas Goedert did not play last time. Lane Johnson did not play last time when these two teams met either. So,
and it changed things because they moved by a lot of the right tackle, and I forget who they had at left tackle at that point, but yeah, Dan Diller, who we know how well he freaking plays.
You know, the problem is with Diller is he can only play left tackle. That's really going to increase his trade value for all season. I mean, he's a confident back, but they have to read. They can move on from Diller. He's like, if I can take a second or third, I'll think about you. But let's talk about today. Just want to say a couple things here. The all-time series, I talked about this on Wednesday. All-time series is tied 10-10. If they won the last meeting on October 14th, 2022. However, Tom Brady is 2-3 all-time against the NFC East in the playoffs. That includes Super Bowl.
And he's 2-2 in the wild card round. And you bring up a great point right there, Mike, is we're going to this game, and all we keep on hearing about is Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he's the greatest of all time, which there's no denying that. He has 7 Super Bowls, but this ain't Tom Brady in his prime, and he still had a productive season. He led the league in passing yards, touchdowns, I think QB rating, completions, but look at the arsenal that he had at his disposal. He had Gronk. He had Chris Godwin for most of the season. He had Mike Evans. He had Leonard Fournette. So it's not like he had a splash of receiving core where it helped things. And it also didn't help that they didn't have a strong running game, so they relied on Brady for quite a bit. So nothing against Brady. All I'm trying to get at is Brady is beatable. And with those records, he has been proven that he can beat you in the playoffs if you have the right philosophy and find ways to control it.
It's a good point. It's a good point, but it's still Brady.
It is Brady.
It's still Brady, man. Like, come on. Like, you can't write this off. Brady will make stars out of anybody. Like, if me and you could play tight end and wide receiver. And we will get at least 50 yards that game. Like, he finds ways to win. He finds ways to elevate his team. And we got to – it doesn't matter who else is on that team. Tom Brady finds ways to win games.
He does, but again, this is the NFL. This is the ultimate team sport. And the way this team is banged up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're getting some defensive players back who are coming off injury. They're without their 2 top running backs for this week's game with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. This team, this ain't the Super Bowl winning championship team from a year ago. This is a team that coming to the playoffs yet, can they be a threat? Because, of course, they have Brady, yes. But this ain't a team that is, I feel, is at the top of the class of the NFC. I get it, it's on the road or they're at home, and Brady's ultimately one of the greatest when it comes to playing at home. But I feel that the fact that we're an 8-point underdog or 7.5-point underdog, whatever it is kind of insulting to this Philadelphia Eagles team, especially for where we have come along the rest of the season.
We've been underdogs in the past for the most part.
Yeah.
Until we lose also, my buddy here, the key to this game is hard rate of concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The interior of the offensive line, we got to get in Brady's space and get to trust. My whole problem is Gannon does not. He doesn't pressure quarterbacks. Pressure quarterbacks. He's going to be paid, but we thought Jim Schwartz was a boring defensive coordinator. And then we hired this guy. And I'll tell you what, he's getting all sorts of interest from around the league.
But I get your point, but again, I do not feel this is completely Gannon's fault. I feel that was the front office's doing with not giving him the correct personnel, because when you have no linebackers and you have to cover one of the greatest tight ends in the game with Rob Gronkowski, you're going to have to cover him with your linebacker, or you have to find a way to cover him with Anthony Harris or Rodney McLeod, which leaves you with a single high safety, which leaves your quarterbacks vulnerable. Which I agree to your friend's point that Hargrave and Cox, they have to step up their game. They're the highest tandem defensive tackles in the game when it comes to getting paid.
Yeah.
And they have been lackluster this season in performance. And everyone wants to throw out that Fletcher Cox has been getting double teamed all season long. No, he hasn't. There's been both of these games where he's getting single coverage and his production has diminished. And now with Josh Sweat out, you need to find a ways to disrupt Tom Brady and disrupt his pocket quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to pay the piper. Look, you're right. Absolutely. Defense, and you know he's not going to blitz. We're not going to blitz that much this game. If we do, he's going to make.
Well, it's not going to matter if you blitz. Tom Brady is one of the best when it comes to getting rid of the ball quickly. I think he averages this season 2 seconds of getting rid of the football.
Yep. Also, co-host Johnny Ulecker is trying to get no Murphy bunting today for Tampa Bay, so it's going to be big for us. Also, I think one thing that we're talking about the team shooting teams. I feel like Nick Sirianni is much better now, taking advantage of matchups than he was back then. I give these guys so much credit. There was a time when I'm pretty sure we all thought, can this guy coach? He's one and done coaching. You know, and it shows like he adapted. And coaches think this fun, you know that his game was successful. Like the fact that he adapted his play calling, his offensive scheme to work well for this team. I'm not going to say he's coach of the year. I say he should be in the running.
He should get some consideration.
Mike Vrabel should be the coach of the year, in my opinion, with what he did. Did you know that they started more players with the Titans than 87 players? That's the most in NFL season for them being one seed. That's all for the Titans. We're talking about
the Birds.
Absolutely. And again, we are broadcasting live from the West End in Quakertown, off Northwest End Boulevard in Quakertown. There's still time to get here. We do have some prizes. We're giving away some Eagles hats. We have some gift certificates. So make sure there's still time to get down here to the West End in Quakertown. Some great food, some giveaways, lots of TVs to watch all the NFL playoff games. So make sure to get down here quickly and see the AATBirds crew and get some great food and chance to win some prizes.
Stuff I do want to just mention to you, we are, as a Johnny comment, we are the AATBirds practice squad for today's pregame. So,
yeah, that's kind of an insult, Johnny. Thank you.
Nah, I like it. I'll take that, Johnny. I'll take that.
Portman's coming and saying Steve Nelson needs to step up, slay the lockdown. Evans, if we can't stop Seal Grayson, Tyler Johnson, you'll have a big problem. So also, let's talk about, you touched on it, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers injuries. Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, the 2 starting running backs out this week. Fournette has a hamstring injury, Jones has an injury. Seal Grayson is also out. He reported out last night. He's an hamstring injury. Carlton Davis is questionable with that injury. And Sean Murphy-Bunting was questionable with out. So, Tyler Johnson is more of a session slot guy. So I think Bunting's earning that contract extension. I'm still worried about the outside here. Rashad Perriman played well for this team last year. And it's not Rashad Perriman good, no. But he was the guy that we signed from the people. But it doesn't matter. He went back to New England and he was great. If anyone can
Patrick Chung.
Patrick Chung.
Well, he was with New England first. He came here, stunk. He went back and he helped him make the Super Bowl.
Some people are system players, and I think Rashad Perriman is a system player for Tampa Bay. I think he's great where he is, and when he goes anywhere else,
But yeah, I agree to your friend's post. When it comes to an X factor for this Eagles team and try to get them, for them to have an opportunity to win this game, when you look at, we can talk about the pass rush, you can talk about Darius Slay, but it's going to be the other corners. It's going to be Avonte Maddox. It's going to be Steven Nelson, because we know what Darius Slay can do. In the first matchup early this year, he was able to shut down Mike Evans when he was one-on-one with him, I think, for 36 yards. So the rest of the secondary is definitely going to need to step up their game to try to shut down the rest of the Buccaneers receiving core. They are without Antonio Brown now. They are without Chris Godwin for the season. So they are a little bit depleted at the wide receiving position, but they still have Tom Brady. They still have the guy that knows how to pick apart defenses and find the ways to expose opposing defenses' weaknesses. And when they still have weapons like Mike Evans and Gronk, it's still going to be a tough task for this Eagles defense, especially if they don't get pressure on Tom Brady, because this Eagles defense this season, I think, is like bottom 5 when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. You play soft. You play soft, man. And what did he throw for? He threw for like 80% last week.
It was quite a bit.
So let's not forget a lot of quarterbacks.
Every quarterback threw for 80%.
I will say that I am notoriously Jeff Murphy, great point. He doesn't have the players he needs, just like he wasn't getting the players he needed last year.
Yes.
Front office fault again, how he put it together. I will say, I understand NFL players. The defense has turned around. The defense in the second half of the game as well has been really good. I said it after that Giants game, the 13-7 game. You can't play that one again. When you hold a team to 13 points, you have to be able to win. And that's what I'm afraid of today. Jalen Hurts making his first career plays. And I understand no lights are too bright. But listen, there's a difference between the BCS National Championship and the NFL playoffs. There just is. I understand no lights are too bright for Jalen Hurts. But Johnny's talking about the weather all the time. He's talking about the weather.
Well, the weather right now, according to reports from reporters right now that are at the stadium, it's not what we were expecting. We were expecting it to be torrential downpours and thunderstorms and this and that. Right now, gentlemen, it's sunny. Wind gust is strong, but not crazy. It can get up to 30 miles per hour throughout the game, which is going to be a very big key for both teams when it comes to game planning their offensive game plans. Yeah. Because I don't really feel special teams, as far as field goals in the kicking game, are going to play much of a factor, and you're going to see a lot more aggressiveness from both offenses, I think, which can make or break this Philadelphia Eagles team. We know Nick Sirianni has shown he can be aggressive, but when it comes to the players executing it, that's going to be a completely different story.
Yeah, absolutely great.
You know, the wing dust, I'm worried about the kicking, and I'm worried about Jalen Hurts would scare me more than Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he's played in Massachusetts. Jalen Hurts, he played at Alabama, better than it. But he doesn't have the strongest leg. And he refuses
I don't see with these wind gusts. I don't see a lot of big threats down the field. I don't see either team trying to stretch the field and throw it deep to their wide receivers, which is why it's going to be a big X factor for the Eagles offensively to get Devontae Smith involved in this game, because he's a guy that has that breakaway speed in open space. You're going to see a lot more short intermediate passes from both offenses. And Devontae Smith, we keep on talking about the keys to the game all week long, that it's going to come down to the running game. It's going to come down to the running game. You still have to throw the football. You still have to keep your opponent's Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense on edge. You still have to show that you can throw the football. And Devontae Smith, with his play set and his ability to break away at any moment, that's going to be a huge key for the Eagles' offense success in winning this football.
Yeah. Because you need speed to stretch the field. He's the guy that has it. He's the fastest player on the team.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a big tight end game. It's going to be, if they're smart, they're going to go to Goddard a lot. And what I'm worried about is with the wind factor and all this going on, is Hurts going to resort back to the one read, take off kind of quarterback. You know what I mean? Is he going to be that guy that just says, I'm not throwing that ball. I see an opening. I'm going to run the ball. So I'm hoping that, Sirianni is going to open up the field with the tight ends, running game, and kind of keeping Jalen Hurts in check, because there's occasions where he'll throw that ball. You know what I mean? Like he makes some questionable throws sometimes. So keep it simple, keep it short field, and just run that clock. You know what I'm saying? Let's not make Jalen Hurts do too much, and let's actually keep Tom Brady the GOAT off the field.
Well, absolutely. And the one thing that the Eagles have struggled over the last month or so is getting out to big leads. This is an Eagles team that, for the most part this season, I think are top 10 in the NFL when it comes to scoring in the first quarter. But minus that Cowboys game, I think they're averaging 2.3 points a game in the first quarter. So this is definitely not the matchup for the Eagles that they can get behind early. You cannot play from behind when it comes to Tom Brady. And also, this is a team that has shown this season when they get behind too early, the game plan's out the window. Nick Sirianni, I think, gets too stressed and too scared.
He hits that panic button.
Yeah, he hits the panic button, and he relies too much on Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts has shown for the most part this season that he can't thrive under the pressure, which is something we're going to have to look at, gentlemen, today, is what Jalen Hurts needs to do. I understand he's going to be under a microscope today, and what do you feel Jalen Hurts needs to do in this game to give you confidence for him in the future?
It's a really good point. Really good point.
Don't lose bad.
Don't lose bad. Don't lose bad, Jalen.
I know it's simple. And here's the thing. I've said before. I think we can all say Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I've always said, when do you run quarterbacks get together? You have some
Oh yeah, there's video.
Looking at particularly next week, that takes us to what, Green Bay, right?
Automatically Green Bay on the road in Lambeau Field. So
that's a hard out. That's hard. I mean, you're talking about going to Green Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're getting out of ourselves, but let's hope that these guys aren't trapping themselves. Like, hey, if we win, we gotta go to Green Bay. So we gotta play. I know that they say that only one round.
Wouldn't that be crazy though? Go to Lambeau and actually win at Lambeau? Would that solidify Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback? would that be the thing that finally puts a stamp on him?
Carson Wentz is beating the Packers at Lambeau. He's in Indy now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that means anything.
For now.
Crazier things have happened. And I'm going a little bit the Johnny Ulecker route where he likes to compare teams and compare things. Remember that 2001 Eagles team where they went to the NFC Championship game? They played in the wild card round with Donovan. Granted, Andy Reid was a couple of years as a head coach in the league, and he was able to get his feeding in. But granted, also that was a team that was a little bit better than what we have now. But you look at the dynamic and the way Jalen Hurts has played this season. He's one of 8 quarterbacks in NFL history to record 3,000 passing yards, 750 rushing yards in a single season, joining Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, RG3, and Randall Cunningham. So Jalen Hurts, yeah, he might have struggled in the first half of the year, but he has grown as a quarterback. He's finally getting into that groove, and it helps that Nick Sirianni has the faith in him to run this offense and run it successfully, which is why they have been on the tear that they have over the last month and a half.
Well,
No, go ahead.
I think part of that too is Nick Sirianni adapting to Jalen Hurts because we know that Andy Reid, square peg round hole. This is my system. You play my system. That team could have been more successful.
Yep. Well said. That's exactly. Well, but all right. Let's pull the wool off our eyes. We've played subpar teams this second half of the season. But I think we're giving. I get giving him his accolades and giving him his flowers now, but we have to understand, like, we're not playing winning teams. So if he's looking good versus bad teams, that's what he's supposed to do. Today's going to be the test to see if he's really going to take that step forward and beat a good team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a good team, but we have to remember, everyone wants to compare Jalen Hurts versus Tom Brady. That's not the case. It's Jalen Hurts versus the Buccaneers defense. The Buccaneers defense, they're not anything special. And like I said earlier, yes, they're getting back Jason Pierre-Paul. They're getting back Shaq Barrett. They're getting back Lamonte Davis. So their defense is getting stronger when they need to be. But this is still a 13th ranked defense that's giving up over 330 yards a game. Granted, they're only giving up 20 points a game, so it's going to come down to the Eagles controlling Tom Brady and that Buccaneers offense. But the Eagles have a chance. That is what I'm trying to get across to everyone is that I honestly feel that this matchup favors the Eagles more than maybe the Los Angeles Rams or some of the rest of other teams in the playoffs. That the Eagles have a chance to win a game on the road against the greatest of all time in Tampa Bay.
Can I have a couple more injuries that I must have, I don't know, I've been unknown, but I guess I didn't see it. Marlon Tuipulotu, did I say that right? Doesn't matter. He's out with COVID. And J.J. Whiteside is out. He has a broken finger or something. He required surgery. I also have the finger sustained on sides. I'm still working. So the Eagles called up Keyshawn Johnson off the practice squad to replace J.J. Whiteside. We'll talk about this real quick. Keyshawn Johnson, Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, not the wide receiver that tore us up in the NFC Championship.
Not that one. Keyshawn Johnson, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals, who actually was pretty productive for them last year. He was a numbers crunch guy. You know, they had a lot of time out there last year. Must be nice. Arizona. But so he was called up instead of John Hightower. John Hightower, a guy who's been in the 7 years that I do on the practice squad, he was called up.
Yeah, I think it was 1 or 2 games.
Are we surprised that it's Keyshawn Johnson and not John Hightower? I'm not. Personally, I heard some things about Hightower's work ethic and maturity issues with Keyshawn Johnson. Apparently, he's on practice squad player of the week a couple times, which is a thing, by the way. And now we know. So, what are your thoughts on Keyshawn Johnson?
Look, he's a guy that's going to possibly be given an opportunity to show what he has. And again, this is still a young football team, and we're going into this offseason trying to still nitpick and figure out what we're going to be doing going forward. So I'm okay with it. We know what we have with John Hightower. He's been given plenty of opportunities. Now we're giving another kid a shot to showcase what he has in one of the biggest games of the year in the playoffs against Tom Brady. And special teams, it's going to be a huge factor that can make or break this game. Especially we talked about earlier about the weather and the wind factor. But also Tampa Bay, they have one of the worst kickoff coverages in the National Football League. I think they're like 5th worst in the league. So in a matter of field position in a game like this, it can come huge. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Eagles special teams perform in the return game to find ways to shift that momentum in their favor when it comes to the battle of field position.
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. That's perfect. You said, but if we're a team of accountability, and you see a guy that's winning practices and putting in the work, yeah, I'm not surprised by seeing Keyshawn actually getting a chance to play the game. I think that's the way it should be.
This is a little bit bigger. A little bit more size than we had. I mean, our single weight side was 6'2". He's a good blocker. That's what he does. This is one of those things where you're getting an end-game look at a guy, a big spot. This could be a potential Jalen Rager. And, you know, let's talk about Jalen Rager for a little bit. As no one goes wild because no one likes Jalen Rager. Could he potentially get back there in this game? You know, maybe Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator Upton, see something like Jalen Rager. Is it a possibility?
I wish. I mean, I would like to see Jalen Rager actually have a breakout game, especially in a big time game like this.
That was as good a time as ever.
This would be the shut up game for Jalen Rager if he could actually produce plays and maybe score a couple touchdowns. But my heart says no. my heart just says no. These are the games that make or break careers. Like these are the things that we talk about for years. And if Rager doesn't have an outstanding game and he just basically falls to the side, we might be talking more about Keyshawn Johnson. You know, who knows? You know what I'm saying? A year or two now. But yeah, this is the game where we're going to need him to show up, and we'll see what happens. My optimism is there, but my heart says no. I can't see Rager just tearing it up. Unfortunately, sorry, Rager.
Yeah, nothing against Rager, but we need someone to step it up. Look, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their defense, they're going to be focusing on Devontae Smith. They're going to be focusing on Dallas Goedert. Someone else needs to step up, whether it's J-Jaw, whether it's Jalen Rager, Quez Watkins, whoever it might be. We need someone else to step it up. And with them being as depleted in that secondary as much as they are with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're not a good secondary. This is the perfect matchup for the Eagles offense to exploit that secondary, exploit that defense, and try to get some big plays in the passing game to their young wide receivers. We need someone else to step up.
Yeah. We need a hero.
Speaking of heroes, let's talk about Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. Neither of which are listed on this injury report. They're in practice in the pool all week.
Yep.
What do you guys think? I mean, we could be potentially without J.J. but we could potentially be here. And Jeff, have the inactives come out? Those guys they're good to go.
Yeah, as far as, let me double check, but those guys are good to go. Miles Sanders did say on Friday that he was going to be playing, and Jordan Howard, as far as I know, that he was not going to be in. Eagles, the inactives for the Eagles are Reese Annette, defensive back Andre Shasher, Jason Huntley, who had a decent game in Week 18, and some people felt that should have been given a shot. Kerry Vincent Jr., defensive back Tate Godwin, Herbig, and Sweat. So, the Eagles are going to be at full strength when it comes to the running back position. They have Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard and Boston Scott with Jalen Hurts. So, a lot of firepower out of that backfield for the Eagles offense.
I like it.
It's going to be a huge running game day for sure.
Yeah, and we're going to need it, especially Miles Sanders. Johnny was talking to me about something before. He's like, I think this team could get by with Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. And yes, we can. But getting by does not win you championships in the NFL. The fact of the matter is, Miles Sanders is Jordan Howard. And I like Jordan Howard. He's bringing principle here. He does exactly what Sirianni asked him. He gets tough yards. He knocks people over. And he's great in that role. He doesn't really catch a lot of passes. But he is the guy. There's 5 yards there. Gets 5. If there's 5 yards there, Sonny's very sharp. Yeah. It's the explosion factor. I think he can be a difference maker. Another guy we're talking about, Ela. He played really well against Dallas. The only one that played really well against Dallas. Also,
and that's another thing. I forgot about Gaylord. So now they have 4 running backs active today. So with the way I feel the game plan's to be running, they're going to be utilizing that running game very effectively. And you try to make sure all 4 of those guys are fresh because we don't know how Miles Sanders is going to be. He has a broken hand. We don't know how he's going to hold that football. Jordan Howard has that stinger. He hasn't looked himself the last few weeks. So I feel Sirianni, he's definitely going to see it. I feel looks more from Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott to try to keep the other 2 look more fresh and prevent them from causing mistakes.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, nice rotation.
Yeah.
And also,
Sorry, Jenna. My wife was a Cowboys fan. So.
How does that work?
I give her the benefit of the doubt. Everyone wants to say, how could you marry a Cowboys fan? But look, she's from Texas. She's not those fair weather bandwagon Cowboys fans from the 90s that live in Pennsylvania who have never stepped foot in the city of Dallas. So I give her the benefit that, look, she's stuck with her team. She's from Texas. So I give her the benefit.
Yeah, you heard that, fair weather fans from Pennsylvania that never been to Dallas and are Dallas Cowboy fans.
The worst is the Cowboys fans in South Carolina. There is no worse thing in my mind. I refuse to accept otherwise. So make sure you tune in for their season. And they should be worried too because our second and third string offensive line is pushing and starting defensive front.
Yeah, which is a huge momentum. Which is huge momentum for this Eagles team going into this game. That the fact that their backups going up against the Cowboys starters were still to effectively be able to move the football and control the Cowboys for the most part, especially offensively. So definitely a huge momentum going to the playoff game this week against Tampa Bay.
We've got a couple questions here too. No one has talked about how good Herbig has been this year. He's been great. He's out today.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think he's done well in his backup role.
We still need an upgrade. That's the one thing this offseason that Howie needs to address. And granted, we have 3 first-round picks, which we continue to talk about. I understand everyone wants to talk about defense, which I agree. We have to revamp the defensive side of football. We have the offense for the most part figured out. You have your number 1 wide receiver with Devontae Smith. You have a quality running back core. You have Jalen Hurts, who has shown that can be a playmaker in this offense and a guy that you can possibly build around. Now, yes, the defense, but on the offense side of the ball, you need to focus on that offensive line. Lane Johnson, wrong side, 30 years old, and has been banged up with a couple injuries over the past couple seasons. Jason Kelsey, he might come back next season. We don't know, but he's a guy that, even though he's playing at a high level, he's getting up there in age and he's always contemplating retirement. You have Mailata finally. You solidified at left tackle, and he's still very young. You need to figure out the interior of that offensive line. Brandon Brooks, we can't continue to bring him back, hoping that he comes back as an all-pro level. He has now had 3-4 straight seasons of season-ending injuries. We need to move on from him and find ways to solidify that other spot, because you do have Landon Dickerson, who brings you that versatility to either play guard or center. So depending what happens with Kelsey, he might be your starting center, or do you keep him as guard and try to find another center somewhere else?
Well, Herbig cannot play center.
No, absolutely not.
And if I ever see Herbig snapping a ball again, I'm not even know everything. Herbig's been, he knows he is what he is. He's a backup, and he's serviceable when he has to start. And that's it. There's a potential that maybe Herbig goes somewhere and he gets like a starting job on a bad team. It's always possible the Lions will be
True. True. Maybe help.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I like Herbig. He's fine. Can they do better? Yes. Can they do worse? They can. Javon Brown. He's officially retired. I'm sorry.
Yeah, never ever bring back Javon Brown. I will go out there and play guard, and they really need a guard that bad. Javon Brown, he was a major disappointment. I don't even know why I don't know what the scouts saw in him, but it was a complete and utter disaster. But again, we are the AATBirds pregame show live from the West End in Quakertown, right off West Boulevard in Quakertown. Still time to get down here. We're here for about another 20, 25 minutes for the pregame show, but still time to get down here to watch all the NFL playoff action. There's drink specials, great food. You have a chance before we leave to win some hats and gift certificates from courtesy of the West End. So again, still time to get down here. And if you can't get down here, still support the West End. Jeff and his crew, they do a tremendous job here. They're very customer service savvy, and they do a great job here. They'll treat you like family. So I appreciate all Jeff and his crew has done all season long. They have a lot of daily food and drink specials all week long. My personal favorite is cheesesteak night. Me, Johnny, and Chip came here the one night for have a little meeting, and their cheesesteaks are phenomenal. And Peanut loves their wings. He came here for a show one time, and their wings are incredible. So again, make sure if you can't get down here, support the West End and throughout the entire season and the off season, and they do a tremendous job here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But gentlemen, we're about 20 minutes left in the show. I want to start hearing your thoughts on this game a little bit. And first, give us your X factor. I want to know who you feel is the key for an Eagles victory today, or maybe not a victory, but who are you focusing on in this week's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think it's going to be TJ Edwards. He is the guy in the middle of the defense. He's the guy calling all the shots. He's got that green sticker in the back of his helmet. I'm green sticker. So he's got to be the guy that sets that defense up to stop Lewis. I hate to say it, but he's the greatest football player of all time. He is. So he's got to be the man in the middle. And by the way, they talk about how TJ Edwards is not that quarterback. Just throw that out there. I've seen him make some fantastic plays, stretching out the ball down. You reach out and bring guys down. He has no business taking down. He is athletic enough to be starting to line back here. He's my X factor for the game. If he can make the defense work, he got a shot.
My X factor is going to be Jalen Hurts. Man, I was going to go defense at first. We went defense, so I'll go offense. I'll go Jalen Hurts. I mean, big-time players come up big in big games, and this is going to be a game where we're going to need him to not turn the ball over, make some smart decisions, and hopefully create some plays and some havoc for that Tampa Bay Bucks defense.
Look, you guys both bring up great points, and Jalen Hurts, I feel, is definitely a focal point that we're going to be looking at. And this is the NFL. Peter brings up a great point. The NFL, you live and die with your quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league, and you need a tremendous job from Jalen Hurts. You need a flawless game from Jalen Hurts. Earlier this season, we brought before against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was statistically his worst start of the season. I think he was like 12 of 26 with an interception, a couple fumbles. So he definitely has to play a better game this week if Eagles want any chance of winning the football.
Let's see. Okay, thank you, sir. So it says Josh Lott won't play today after overcoming potentially, what did that say?
Potentially life-threatening issue.
A potentially
Oh, wow.
life-threatening medical
Who's that
issue.
reported by?
CBS Sports.
Okay,
Wow,
so
well-
it is a reputable source. Thank you. All right, so it looks like Josh Sweat. There's
Thank you for that.
Also, I need to give a shout out right here. She's at home watching me. I had my little girl Cora. She keeps calling for that on the TV. So thank you for watching. So I appreciate it. It's time for your nap. So please go to bed.
He wants you in bed before he gets home. That way he can enjoy the rest of the game to himself.
Well, that's not gonna happen. So
But,
that's
wow.
big. I mean, Josh Sweat.
That is huge. Especially, we hope prayers out to Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
Hopefully everything is okay with him, with his recovery and his health down the road. But that is huge, not just for this game, but for the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. If for some reason he cannot come back from this, we don't know the length or the severity of the illness. But you just gave him a big contract extension earlier in the middle of the season. So you give him that big money. You're now possibly moving on from Derek Barnett. You need to completely revamp your your defensive front for the most part, your pass rushing front. Ryan Kerrigan was a major bust. Milton Williams, yeah, he's a guy that brings a lot of versatility, but you still need a lot more depth and another piece you were hoping to give alongside Josh Sweat this offseason. So the Eagles potentially without two of their starting defensive ends going into next year before the season even starts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they bring Barnett back out of necessity.
They might, and I know BG is talking about coming back, and I love Brandon Graham to death, but
He's not going to be the same after that.
he's not going to be the same after that injury. At his age, his recovery time, he's a good role player, a good leader in the locker room, especially for that defense. But he's not the Brandon Graham that did the strip sack in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady anymore. We need to move past that. We need to start moving past all these iconic moments in Eagles history just to keep players around. Look what we did with Jalen Mills all those years until they decided to finally move along from there.
And you can say the Phillies did the same thing too. They won that World Series and they kept extending guys that were past their prime. And now the team is in shambles. We don't want that. We can't afford that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure Giants are going to come up with some, UDFAs or seventh round draft picks. We'll take Brandon Graham's spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some trash guy that shouldn't be on the practice squad.
Look, and you can find diamonds in the rough like that. You find it every single year in the draft, but I don't like taking risks. I don't like taking the chance or trying to develop guys long term. In this team, we're a playoff team right now. We're playing with extra time. No one expected this Eagles team to be a playoff team and be in the position they are. Next year now, for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, the expectations and the pressure just go way, way up. Now that they've shown that they can be a playoff team, we're ready for them to take the next level. And we want them to be a win-now football team. We can't wait for these late-round draft picks to develop and hopefully they come along. We want results right now, which this past draft, overall, they did that. Devontae Smith set the Eagles' single-season rookie receiving record. We have Landon Dickerson, who has shown that he can be a starter in this league. Milton Williams showed that he can be a threat along that defensive line. So they're trying to find ways to develop players. But
So you're saying how he did a good job?
he did a good job this past offseason and for the draft, yes. But I want to see consistency. I want to see him continue to do that.
But you did say how he did a good job.
This offseason he did a good job.
You see how red his face gets when he says it too?
Well, yeah, 'cause I criticized Howie, and look, all of a sudden Philadelphia did it. He got his one pass. He got his one chance. He got us that Super Bowl. So he got his one pass.
Right.
Now I want to see consistency, building this team back to playoff contention and back to a Super Bowl contending team. That's my thing. And next year, now that we've made the playoffs, I want them to take that next level, and now I want them to become that Super Bowl contending team, and I'm hoping they can do that now. This offseason, the fact that they now have the cap space, hopefully, to make some moves in free agency, to get some veterans to complement what they already have. They have the draft picks with the 3 first-rounders, which I honestly do not see them using all 3 first-rounders. I know we'll get that in the offseason.
Yeah.
I do see if Jalen Hurts doesn't pan out, and they don't think he's the franchise quarterback, moving one of those first-round picks for next year's draft, hoping they can get like a top 10, top 15 pick, and hopefully the quarterback draft class is a lot better in the following year's draft.
You already got us drafting a quarterback.
I said it. I said it. Jalen Hurts doesn't pan out. Which right now he is showing you that he has the potential to have a team built around him, but he still has his flaws. He crumbles under pressure. He still throws erratic passes. He still has shown that he is not ready to be the franchise quarterback for this team long term, in my opinion. That's why this year and next year, you need to see the full sample size of what Jalen Hurts can do. And that's what this game, I'm not saying it's going to ultimately decide his future, but it's going to help be the deciding factor in his future long term after next season, in my opinion, because he's still on a rookie contract. They can't negotiate a contract with him until after his 3rd year in the league.
You know, for how old he is, that's awareness of a lot of things. And we saw, I think it was they just keep smack the ball. For a guy that's that fast and that mobile, that can't happen. It just can't happen. You have to have that experience. It'll kill you every single time.
And look, Jalen Hurts, he hasn't been given the greatest core around him. If we could get a veteran wide receiver to complement Devontae Smith, I know everyone wants to throw out Devontae Adams, but that's most likely not going to happen. That's not coming. No, well, the fact that there's reports that the Green Bay Packers are looking to franchise tag him, and if Aaron Rodgers decides to change his tune and decides that he wants to come back to Green Bay, especially if he wins a Super Bowl this year, he's going back to Green Bay, and Devontae has to go out and go there. But you still have some decent wide receivers in the open market, potentially, with Allen Robinson. There's a couple other names out there I can't think off the top of my head, but I still want the Eagles to get a veteran receiver to give Jalen Hurts more options, because like we brought before, Jalen Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, they are not the answer. And you can't – Quez Watkins, he's a good slot receiver, a good speed guy, but he's not a number 2 or number 1 wide receiver in this league.
I agree. Quez is more or less a one-play game kind of guy that gives you that burst. But yeah, that's really well said and well played. What do we do then? What do we do with Jalen Reagor? What do we do with Jason?
Well, they're going to stay on the roster, I feel, until their contracts are up. You have no trade value unless someone miraculously thinks that they can find something to utilize them in their offense for, like Bill Belichick, Mr. Genius, who got blown out last night, can find he always finds the best out of players that people give up on. And he finds roles. Julian Edelman and Wes Welker, those guys, he was able to find suitable roles for them. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in that offense made it look like studs.
Yeah. I also want to say congratulations. Last night, a text message sent that said the Cincinnati Bengals have won a playoff seed.
Dude, the NFL playoffs are crazy.
Congrats to the Cincinnati Bengals, man. A long-suffering fan base. They have not won a playoff game since 1992 is when the text message was sent. So it's been a minute.
First text message.
And you know what? If we don't win the Super Bowl, I want the Bengals to win money. So let's go Bengals.
Let's go Bengals.
Say now some Eagles fans are coming in. Again, we are live from the West End in Quakertown. If you still time to get down here, we do have some giveaways for everyone that just came in. Make sure to get a ticket from the bartender. We do have some Eagles hats giveaway. We have some gift certificates to give away. So a little bundle package for everyone that came out today to support the West End and support AATBirds. So again, we appreciate everyone's support and appreciation. But look, Eagles playoff football, it's exciting. And like we said before, we didn't expect to be in the situation that we are in. But do you guys think that the Eagles can pull off the upset? Well, I don't know if you guys want to wait on that, or you want to give us your keys to the game without giving us your prediction. We have about another 10 minutes or so left in the show.
The keys to the game was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I want Tom Brady on his back end. You gotta keep it off the field. Make sure his uniform is nice and dirty. Defensively, keep it tight. You know, we don't need these guys, you know, the Tampa Bay's on the offense. We don't need these guys lined up like Miami defensively, trying to guard some great wide receivers. Keep it tight, wrap your guys up, play smart football, and remember, there's no tomorrow.
Well said. You know, I'm gonna say I agree with the run the ball. You definitely got to run the ball. The other thing I'm going to say is you can't take your foot off the gas. So if you have a lead in the fourth quarter, you can't just run the clock out. You can't just, for lack of a better term, like like you gotta keep your foot on their necks. You gotta keep playing hard to the very end. I mean, if there's 25 seconds left in this game and Tom Brady gets the ball, I feel like he would be the guy to go down. Yeah, there's always a chance. So you gotta the more points you score, the better. Keep your foot on the throttle and run the ball.
I agree with both your points, and mine's a little bit to what Mike said, and it's going to be the time of possession. You need to establish a rhythm, not just run the ball, but you need to move those chains. You need to keep Tom Brady off the football field. That is Tom Brady. He has shown this is the #1 offense in the National Football League with yards allowed and points scored. Tom Brady has led the league in all passing categories this season. Honestly, I don't feel that this defense has enough firepower in them to control Tom Brady and control this offense, especially for how quickly Tom Brady knows how to get rid of the football as quickly as he does. We keep on saying that the pass rush is the key to this game, which it is, but Tom Brady, when he's getting the ball out within 2 seconds, doesn't matter if you have a superior pass rush, because he's getting rid of the football quickly before you guys even get there. So defensively, we need to control the short intermediate passes underneath. So we brought earlier, Vontae Maddox is my X factor as far as key to the game as a player, because you're gonna see a lot of those short passes where Tom Brady's just gonna dig and dunk. He's gonna find ways to pick you apart. We saw that in the first matchup where they just kept on chipping away, establishing long drives. The Eagles need to do that this week. The Eagles need to be the one to control the tempo and control that clock and continue to move those chains and establish a 10, 15 play drive for 8, 10 minutes, however long it may be. The less possessions Tom Brady gets on that football field, the better chance that this Eagles team has a chance coming up with a victory.
Well said.
You want to do our odds?
It's up to you. I don't have any. We can just do the regular. So, yeah, look, again, the Eagles are an 8.5-point underdog, the second highest underdog total in this week's playoffs behind the Pittsburgh Steelers. No one's giving them much chance to win this game. So, gentlemen, Mike, I'll start with you. Give us your prediction for the Eagles-Bucks game and why, whatever the way you're feeling on the game.
Jalen Hurts, I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to be a high-scoring game. Steelers might as well. I think that being said, I think, unfortunately, he's going to be 30-27. I just think Tom knows how to have his offense. In the playoffs, it's going to be too much for David's defense. And Adam is saying 34-27 Birds. So Adam, I hope you're right. But I got 31-27.
Yeah, my optimism is not very high on this game as well. So I agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts will have a good game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, but I think ultimately the Writers. I think, I'm going to go 28-27.
Look, do I have to give the voice a reason?
Yes.
Do I have to pull a Johnny U and be Mr. Positivity?
Yes.
I have the Eagles covering the spread. Look,
Take the Eagles money line.
Look, I hope we can win this game. I give the Eagles a better chance to win this game. I don't feel that we are as much as an underdog as everyone is expecting us to be, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, despite the injuries, just have way too much firepower. I feel the experience factor is going to play a huge role in this game with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. They've been here before. They know what it takes, and Tom Brady knows how to win playoff games. He leads NFL history, I believe, in playoff victories for a quarterback. He, of course, has 7 Super Bowls. As old as he is, and a little bit on the decline, and the way this team is played, Tampa Bay is obviously the better football team. The only way the Eagles have a chance is, like we said before, is controlling the clock, keeping Tom Brady off the field, and our defense. When you see a big play, Darius Slay this season, over the last few weeks, has done a tremendous job with causing havoc and causing some turnovers and having a couple defensive touchdowns. We need a big defensive play from our defense to force Tom Brady, interception or a fumble or something. We need a game-changing play from this defense, but ultimately, I feel it's too much for the Buccaneers. I do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this one, 27-20. I feel I understand the NFL. We don't like moral victories, but as an Eagles fan, you have to hold your head high if the Eagles do not get blowout in this game. If they play a competitive game and against a team that is truly better than them and a position that they should not really be in, I'm okay with that. I consider that a successful season for the Philadelphia Eagles if they are competitive in this game. So, look, I'll say this was the AATBirds pregame show. Again, we appreciate everyone for tuning in and coming out to the West End in Quakertown. There's still time to get out here to watch all NFL playoff action. Again, there's 3 games today. 1 o'clock, I think 4 o'clock game and 8 o'clock game. So definitely come out here to the West End. There's drink specials and great food. The staff will treat you like family. And before we get out of here, I want everyone in this bar. The bar is packed with Eagles fans. Before we get off the show, I want everyone to get loud and crazy. Eagles playoff football is about to kick off. I want to hear a big EAGLES chant real quick. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. EAGLES! Go Birds, everyone. Have a great day.